Hey guys, here's a quick video on direct and inverse variation. I know a lot of y'all understood how to do this in class, but here's a little refresher for y'all. Okay, so the first thing you need to know is direct variation. Direct variation, it is a straight linear line. Whenever you're looking at your XY table, either X is going to increase while Y also increases, or X is going to decrease while Y decreases. So both of them are going to go the same direction. So if you're looking at your vocabulary, Y varies directly as X. Y is directly proportional to X. So if you see the word directly, clearly it's going to be direct variation. Okay, it's a constant of variation and a constant of proportionality. So as I said before, as X increases, Y also increases, or as X decreases, Y also decreases. So if you notice, both those arrows are going the exact same way. So if it's the exact same way, it's direct. Alright, the characteristics. The linear line y equals kx, this is your parent function. Okay, so I know in class we talked about the parent. Kx is your parent for this one. My pen would write. Okay, won't connect. There you go. Alright, and also goes through the origin, so it goes through the point 0, 0. So in other words, your x and y intercept is right there at the origin, 0, 0. Your constant is k equals y over x. Whenever we solve our direct and inverse variation problems, this is what we're using right here. So we'll use k is equal to k. So it'll be y over x equals y over x. So that's the formula that we're going to use. Alright, the next type of variation that we have is inverse variation. So if you notice, this is a curved line. It has an asymptote at x equals 0 and at y equals 0. Now if you look at your table, this one, as x increases, if you notice then that our y is decreasing. So that's what makes it an inverse. So the vocabulary. So y varies inversely as x. Y is inversely proportional to x. Has a constant of variation and a constant proportionality. So as I already said, as x increases, y decreases. Or as x decreases, y increases. So these are opposite. That's why it's inverse. Okay, the characteristics. It is non-linear, which means that it's not a straight line. The formula for it is y equals k over x. And this is your parent, or your general form. Okay. Our rational function y over, or 1 over x, is your true parent, but this is the way the parent function looks. Alright, as I said, there's no x-intercept and there's no y-intercept. The constant is k equals y times x. So when we solve our variation problems, we're going to do k equals k. My pen does not want to write today. K equals k. So it'll be yx equals yx. Okay. Alright, so variation problems are going to use phrases like y varies directly as x and y is directly proportional to x. So as I said earlier, we're going to use the k equals k. So directly proportional, the k was y over x. So, oops, sorry, I need to undo that. Oh, it's just not my day. Okay, let's go in the wrong direction. Okay, let's get the eraser. I am so sorry, guys. That won't happen again. Okay, so y equals x equals y equals x over x, is going to go with direct. So y varies inversely as x, and y is inversely proportional to x is going to go with yx equals yx. Okay, so you got to know which formula that you're using. Alright, our first problem. Y is directly proportional to x, and y equals 8 when x equals 10. What is the value of y when x equals 5? So for starters, you need to figure out if it's direct or if it's inverse. And what the question flat out tells you right here, directly, which means that it's direct. So we're going to use the formula y equals x equals y equals x. So our first y is 8. So I put 8 up top. Then our first x that 8 goes with is 10. So 8 over 10. This equals, I'm asking for the value of y. So y on top. And then when x equals 5. So divided by 5. Alright, now we're going to go back to like 7th grade. And we're going to cross multiply and divide. So I'm going to do 8 times 5, which is 40, equals 10 times y, which is 10y. Alright, so now after I cross multiply, now I can divide. I'm going to divide by 10, because that's what y is being multiplied by. Okay, 40 divided by 10 equals 4, so y equals 4 is my answer. So in other words, with it being directly proportional, the value of y when x equals 5 is 4. If you have any questions on that one, stop the video, pause it, rework the problem. Alright, next one. Y varies inversely with x and y is 8 when x is 16. What's the value of x when y is 2? Alright, so as I said before, the first thing you do is figure out if it's inverse or direct. Well, clearly the question says inversely. So we're going to use the formula for k equals k for the inverse, which that will be yx equals yx. So now looking in the problem, I got y is 8, so I'm going to have an 8 when x is 16. So 8 times 16. That's equal to asking for the value of x when y is 2. So 2 times x. Okay, let's multiply 8 times 16. So on your calculator, type in 8 times 16. And when you do that, you get 128. I'm so sorry, my writing is bad today. Equals 2x. Alright, last step is to divide. So I'm going to divide by 2. 128 divided by 2 equals 64. So x equals 64. So one thing I want you to notice, so our y value decreased. Alright, so since our y decreased, that means since it's inverse, x has to increase. So this is how you can double check yourself. So x went from 16 to 64. Therefore, x did increase as y decreased. So that's why the inverse problem, it works. Alright, next one, the word problems. These are the ones that got my kids a little messed up. They might have gotten you a little bit messed up because they're harder to figure out if it's a direct or an inverse. But you gotta just take it one step at a time. So for his business, Gil had determined that 18 workers can finish a job in 6 days. The more workers on the job, the less time it will take. How many days will it take for 12 workers to do the same job? Okay, so first you need to figure out if it's inverse or direct. So the sentence that's going to tell you this is, let me get a highlighter so you can see this, is the more workers on the job, the less time it will take. So in other words, what I'm saying is, so I have workers and time. So if I increase workers, it's going to decrease time. Alright, so this is going to be an inverse variation. So that means we're going to use yx equals yx. Alright, so I'm starting out with 18 workers. So I have 18, and it takes them 6 days. So since I know this is inverse, I'm going to have 12 workers, and then I'm going to have their time. I'm going to call that t. Alright, so let's be honest about this. We are looking for a number that's less than 6, or more than 6, sorry, because I decreased my workers, which is different than what we just said. So I decreased workers, so that means my time has to increase. Alright, so let's type in 18 times 6. On your calculator, you get 108. So 108 is equal to 12t. I cannot write today to save my life. Alright, next step is to divide by 12. So 108 divided by 12 equals 9. So t equals 9. So it should take them 9 days. And then you can always double check yourself by just thinking through it. You decreased your workers, so we should have something more than 6 days, and 9 is more than 6. So you're great. Okay, if you have any questions on that problem, be sure to stop it, rewind it, and rewatch it. Alright, next one. Matt's a speed skater. His coach recorded the following data during the time period. So you have that table, X and Y values. Awesome. If Matt continues to skate at the rate shown in the table, what's the approximate distance in meters he will skate in 25 seconds? Okay, so first thing you gotta do is look at your table. If you look at the table, my time's going from 4.5 seconds to 11 3/4. So therefore, my time is increasing. Now, as my time's increasing, my distance is going from 50 meters to 125. So again, distance is increasing. So since they're both increasing, it's directly proportional, which means we're going to use yx equals yx. Alright, so now I can choose any xy value in the chart to use as my first yx. I'm going to use 9 and 100 just because those are nice, simple, easy numbers, and I like to avoid decimals at all costs. So I have 100 divided by 9. This is going to equal, so I got to keep distance with distance and time with time. So distance goes on top, so let's call that y, divided by time, so 25 seconds. And now I'm going to cross multiply. So I got 25 times 100, so I get 2,500 equals 9y. Alright, now I divide by 9. Okay, so y is equal to, let me type that into my calculator. So 2,500 divided by 9 is 277.8 meters. Okay, and you can double check yourself to make sure that 277.8, that it did increase in 25 seconds. Okay, this is all I have for you on direct and inverse variation. If you have any questions throughout any of this, make sure that you stop it, rewind it, work through the problems while we go through the video, and you should be an expert on this. Hope this helped.